You're listening to the Wrestling Philosophy Show, where we talk wrestling perspectives and beliefs. Check us out on social media, including video shows on YouTube and audio on podcast platforms. Episode 25, we connect with Tobias of Alma College. He talks about his path from Michigan to Wyoming to North Carolina and back to Michigan. He discusses being a gearhead and how Todd Hibbs showed him the ropes of D3 college coaching. He talks about the Scots strength coach Fletcher Roberts and other key aspects of the college. If you like the show, subscribe on YouTube or your favorite podcast channels. If you didn't, shoot us a DM and let us know who you'd like to hear from. I joined today Coach Tobias of Alma College Scots. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
I can't complain. Glad we got to connect. Looking forward to have you on. We've talked a few weeks ago about having you on. Fill us in on your background. You've been all over the place coaching and obviously wrestling and all kinds of records and accolades. Fill us in.
Well, I guess I'm originally from Michigan. I grew up in Manchester. I guess I should say the outskirts of Manchester, small Division IV school, four-time state champ. Started wrestling when I was, I guess, really young. My older brother wrestled, so in 7th grade, he went out for wrestling, and I was in 3rd grade at the time, so I was a manager and just kind of following on the coattails, doing everything I could there, and just training with him and wherever they went as a team. And so, I mean, I've traveled all over the Midwest, I should say. I got into it and I really loved it. Started competing in 6th grade, wrestled mostly freestyle. Then got into high school and just had a lot of success there. Went on to wrestle at the University of Michigan. Had success, didn't accomplish all the goals I set for myself, but had a lot of success there. And after graduating from Michigan in 2005, I went to University of Wyoming, was a volunteer assistant coach there, helped coach a couple guys to the national tournament. Kind of funny story with that is first round out there, was rather coaching Carter Downing at 149, and we drew Eric Tannenbaum first round. So I was like, he's like, what do I need to do? I'm like, dude, I lost to him by 1 point every time, so we're just gonna go out there and do our best,
Yeah.
But we ended up losing in the blood round, overtime of the blood round, and so it was a good tournament for us. But when I was out there, I was taking automotive classes because I thought that's kind of where the path that I wanted to go. Just because I was kind of a gearhead, grew up on a farm, loved working on things that way. But life took me in different directions since that was in 2007 in Michigan, and you couldn't buy a job in the automotive field.
Mm-hmm.
So I was back in Michigan for a short period of time. A buddy of mine, AJ Grant, called me up and asked me if I was still interested in coaching. I was like, where am I going? And so I ended up down as an assistant coach at Belmont Abbey for half a season, or I was there for a year and a half, but I went down for the second half of the season. Helped coach a kid to be an All-American. I think it was like 2 Scholar All-Americans that year. And then I was there, like I said, there for a year and a half. And then I had a job opportunity that really landed in my email box somehow about taking a job on the coast of North Carolina in Wilmington, which is a beautiful town. I was a private coach for one kid, and we started up a club out there, started a program, and I was there for a couple of years. He was a sophomore All-American, Lawson, I think he took 3rd his junior year. So had a really good showing, wrestled at the University of Missouri for a few years. And then after I was there for a couple of years, there was some family things that my wife wanted to come back to Michigan and kind of deal with at the time. So we made the decision to move back to Michigan, and we moved back, and it was like 2010. We moved back, and we made the decision, whoever got the job first, the other was going to be a stay-at-home caretaker for my father-in-law. And so she got a job at a preschool in the first week we were back. So I got to hang out with my father-in-law for pretty much a full year, hanging out, doing things with him the best that I could, and doing stuff with clubs and youth kids in the area for a full year. And then in 2011, I think it was like January, February 2011, they reestablished the program here at Alma College. And at the time, Todd Hibbs was named the head coach. And I was like, well, that's a good hire because I knew his accolades and what he had done for Olivet, bringing them back up to a very successful and, strong program. But I wasn't expecting to get a call from him and start talking to him about being an assistant coach. And that really was like a 3-week interview process where he took me recruiting and we went to different places and just kind of conversation. And he basically explained what Division III was at the time, because I had no idea. I mean, I was kind of in my own tunnel vision when it came to wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
where it was D1 and that's all there was.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a whole lot of wrestling that goes on besides the Division I level. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, it was cool. Got to experience, what Division III was about. So first 5 years, I was an assistant coach under Todd Hibbs here, and now I'm going into my 10th year here. My 5th as head coach. So it's been
Nice.
quite the journey.
That's awesome. So, what are some of the things that he taught you about D3 that kind of opened your eyes as a young coach?
I mean, a lot of it's more based on academic accolades, and you're really looking for the characteristic of kids. And schools, most of your Division III schools are enrollment driven, so
Mm-hmm.
you're not so much looking for the highest caliber of wrestler. Sometimes you're looking for that kid who's green, who's just starting to figure out how to wrestle. They have the big picture of what they really want to do in the future. So they're really looking to come in and get a degree in 4 years and be in the workforce making money. So
Nice.
that's kind of what we're looking for, and just looking for the kid who's got that. They're looking for the family atmosphere, which is what we're trying to build here. So, I mean, I've got 2 little ones. I got a 7-year-old who can't stay off the guys and really wants to wrestle them as often as he can. Doesn't matter if he's on the mat or in the hallway. So, and
That's
it
awesome.
works out for me. Yeah, I mean, being on a college atmosphere, it's the best place to raise kids, in my opinion, because you have so many role models in different fields and sports and whatnot. So it's perfect. So
That's awesome. Going back, you said did you start in 7th grade? Is that when you started, or?
I started wrestling in 6th grade,
Wow.
which I'm really glad, now
Mm-hmm.
looking back at it. I love my son being able to wrestle and to learn. I mean, he's been he's been in the wrestling room since he was 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
old. So, you you get to learn and everything. But for me, looking at him, I want him to really understand the competition and being able to handle losing or winning. And I don't think that the younger kids get it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I try not to go to too many of them, but I go to enough youth tournaments where you see kids, they lose it if they lose.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to be able to handle winning and losing, because it's life. In life, it's not about winning and losing. It's the process and kind of dealing with adversity all the time, because I mean, look where we're at
Right.
right now.
Right.
There's a
Right.
lot of adversity we're going through. So,
Mm-hmm. No,
yeah,
that's
I'm glad that my dad didn't put me into the competition. And really, after every match, the first thing he would ask me is if I had fun.
right.
And then from there, he'd ask me, do you want to know what you did wrong? Do you want to know what you did right? I'm like, sure, tell me. So, I mean, it was, for us, it was growing up. I'm one of 5. Going to a tournament on the weekends didn't matter if I was in 6th grade or if I was in high school. It was about the family atmosphere going,
Mm-hmm.
because both my parents would go. They would work um, the back room, getting bout sheets ready and
Right.
brackets and whatnot. So it's kind of what we grew up in.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool. Similar, for myself, family brought up in it, and um, so you started 6th grade. And you went on to be a 4-time state champ and all kinds of record, even at Michigan, right? Pin records and all that. What do you think kind of transcended you, or kind of catapulted you into that success?
I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that, like I said, I was in 3rd grade. I was going to the middle school practices, working
Okay.
out with kids that were older and bigger. And then when I got into middle school, I would go with the high schoolers. I remember over Christmas, I think I was like in 5th grade, going up to the team went over to Hudson to work out with Hudson. and Coach Mary throw me into a shark bait group with
Yeah.
a couple time state champion here and there, and like I think the one group I was with the Yoders and Warren and not Warren, Warner, Joe Warner, and then like a 3-pounder. And I do well against one guy, and then I get my butt kicked against another
Right.
guy. So
Nice.
for me, it was all about just having fun wrestling, going out and scrapping, and I just love it. I still love wrestling now, getting on the mat and just scrapping. I don't care if I win or lose. I just going out and having fun. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Talk about the campus there, and what it makes what is different about it for the small school.
Well, campus is it's a small campus. I mean, there's 1,400 students, liberal arts college. The professors, I feel like, I guess you hear about it from other institutions. It's very similar, but the professors are really interested and involved in your education. I mean, I know guys that go do barbecues at professors' houses. They'll have classes in the middle of if it's nice out, they go outside, they get to know you. We get emails from professors asking about how guys are doing and telling us how guys are doing and wishing us good luck and whatnot. It's one of those where professors are really involved with the education and wanting kids to excel and really figure out who they are and what they're looking to do. So
Okay.
I know it's one of those that when I came on my the interview with my wife, we came up and walked around campus. It was just one of those clean campuses. Classes were going on, and you walk around, and students are sitting outside studying, and it wasn't loud. It was just a clean, well-kept campus that you could tell was focused on the academics and really looking at the success rates, job placement, internship opportunities, just the things that go along with helping students be successful. It definitely was intriguing to me, and yeah, I've seen it firsthand now. So
Nice. Obviously at small schools you need people like that, and from all angles, working together. I know you have an awesome strength coach and coach was it Fletcher Roberts, is that right?
yep, yeah, he does a great job. I've known John Roberts, Fletcher Roberts.
Okay.
I've known him since when I was coaching at Belmont back in '08. I met him at a tournament. Kind of funny, he was wrestling at Pembroke at the time, and then when I moved to Wilmington, he was in Wilmington, not competing anymore. He was just working out and personal training people. And he came in and he had some buddies that were doing MMA because UFC was taking off back then. And they'd come into the facility and train and grapple and whatnot. Funny story is George Hickman wrestled for Binghamton, right? No, Bloomsburg. He wrestled for Bloomsburg, and he had just been, I think he All-American that year, and came down, and he was starting to get into the UFC to work on fighting. And I went in. I mean, I didn't really know who he was. I mean, I heard of him. His brother had just left from Laney High School there and had gone up, and I wrestled with him. He had his little gloves on or whatever, sitting there rolling around and whatnot. And I was getting the best of him, and he just got so pissed off. And we kept on going, wrestling. It was probably one of the highlights that gym had because they definitely didn't have a lot of talent in the area. But there was a lot of guys that wanted to go in and get a workout to try and make it on the UFC circuit, But
Right.
yeah, Fletcher's done a great job for us here. I think he's said he's going into his 8th or 9th year as our strength coach here. Really big focus on nutrition and, bottom up theory of, good food from the ground and just eating the right things and how to adjust diets for each guy based on what they need to excel. And then a strength training program where we've sent him places to continue his education. He's had a lot of mentoring, great coaches for him that have helped him develop the system that he uses and what we're using here. We've got 23 sports at Alma, men's and
Okay.
women's, and he oversees all of it. And I think he works with 8 or 9 different teams specifically. And the one of the softball team, Denny, he's like the #2 most winningest coach in all of
Wow.
NCAA softball. he's done a great job with their program. We've got a cheer and stunt program that they've won a couple national titles. They've been a runner-up a couple times, and he does a really good job with them as well as our guys. I mean, I can see guys that come in that they are that development green type of guy, and he
Mm-hmm.
helps them strength-wise, and it just boosts their confidence. So our program is around getting guys stronger and kind of lifting their body, getting stronger to the weight class that they should be in. So it,
Nice.
yeah,
No,
makes things a whole lot easier.
yeah, definitely. I know you and I talked kind of before about, getting the guys in the right weight class and, their optimal weight instead of, cutting them down. It definitely makes a difference, at the college level.
Oh, for
Um,
sure.
any other key guys, with the program, other coaches or anyone on
Coach
campus?
Groneveld, Jared, he wrestled for us. He was a state champ his senior year, 171. He was part of our first recruiting class. He graduated. He was a national qualifier senior year, three-time scholar All-American. He got a teaching degree and certificate. And he was out of school for a year. He was actually doing his student teaching for the 1 year. And then after that was when I took over the head coaching position. And I hired him on because, for one, he was very successful here academically, and he knew how to help guys in that aspect. So I
Okay.
really liked that part. He was coaching and was helping at a high school. So just being able to teach him how to recruit some,
Mm-hmm.
because honestly, he knew the college better than I did because he lived here, and
Mm-hmm.
as a coach, this school and you'll know the ins and outs of it, but you don't know the ins and outs like a student does. So being
Mm-hmm.
able to have him on staff to help out sell the program, to sell the school, and he was in line with the philosophy I had of coaching and what we're trying to do with our program. So he's done a great job of helping us and adding procedures and what we're doing, whether that's academically, it's the wrestling and practice or training or resting. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's all
Right.
it's all in
Recovery.
there.
Right.
Yep. I mean, I kind of look at our staff as like, I may take the blame for things that happen, but we talk openly about what's going on and how things need to be. So
Nice. Nice. So you mentioned your philosophy. What do you feel your philosophy is there? What you bring specifically? What's your skill set? Is it recruiting? Is it the
that
strategy for the season? Or I mean, obviously it all falls on you, but how do you work with that with your coaching
I
staff?
feel like my strongest suit, I guess, would be on
Mm,
the mat.
okay.
Just the technique and working to develop guys, figuring out the best thing to fit guys and how to move, trying to help some of these guys because, like you said, it was kind of development,
Mm-hmm.
working with them on body awareness and how to move a little bit better when they're wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think recruiting and I guess the personal aspect of who I am and what we're really trying to build, the family atmosphere. That's kind of a large part of it. But come on. But I think that, like I said, that family atmosphere, it really
Nice.
does play into what we're doing. Like we were talking earlier, my family's at everything we do. I mean, I've got a 7-year-old son now. His birthday was yesterday. He
Oh,
loves
cool.
coming in.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Side note, we were watching him play flag football yesterday. It was pretty sweet. Catching a touchdown pass.
Nice. Nice. I have
Big moment.
twin 7-year-old girls, so I know that age very well. They're in
Yeah. It makes
volleyball
wanting to
and
come in here
basketball.
a
So
little bit more difficult.
yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I try and be as real with my guys as possible. I mean, I don't look at this as a business. I look at it more as me being a mentor, trying to help guys
Right.
reach their goals and their full potential. I'm not recruiting guys that want to be Olympians. We're recruiting guys that want to continue to wrestle. They have big goals at the college level of being the All-American national champion, scholar All-American, and really landing great internships and getting that great job after they graduate or getting into the grad school of their choice.
Right.
So
No, I was just talking with Coach Powell at New England College yesterday, and he shared the same, similar message, but what they're doing for these 4 years is gonna, set them up for 40 years. And I saw something on the social media, I think on Twitter, Facebook, one of them about when you get in the real world, there's no divisions. You know, they don't ask if you went to a junior college or a Division III school. There's no divisions. You're measured on your work ethic and what you can bring. So
They don't even care if
yeah.
you're a national champion, All-American.
Right.
You got
That's
that
what
scholar All-American status on there, and you wrestled or you were an athlete in college. That's going to open a lot of doors for you.
Right. I even, with my, I coach at the high school level, but the kids, I want to go to such and such college. And I was like, why? I was like, even when you're a lawyer, and I mean, obviously lawyer and doctor are pretty high professions, but when you go to your doctor, do you ask them what college they went to? When you go to a, accountant or a lawyer, do you ask them what college they went to? No, you just care if they can get the job done. Right. Yep. So, one thing I always like to ask is, what would your entrance song, or what was your entrance song? Do you have anything?
I think it changed several different times.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, what was the song at that time that came out? I couldn't even tell. Something by Metallica or AC/DC, I guess.
Okay.
But I don't remember what it was back then.
What would it be? Would it be something different today?
Was it for whom the bell toll?
Yeah, that was yeah.
Yeah,
Metallica.
That's kind of where I think it would go now, but
okay,
that's just off the cusp. I don't know what I would.
Okay, no,
I'd have
that's
to really
good.
think about it.
Is that what you're playing in the room? Some AC/DC, Metallica type stuff?
It changes.
Yeah.
It depends on if they've made me happy or not. Some days we'll put some old rock on. We'll put. I have a hard time putting some of the rap stuff that they have on nowadays, but I'll leave it up to them sometimes. So old stuff. Right. I like old school.
Nice. Any rule changes or unwritten rules of the sport that you have?
No, not really. I mean, it goes for me, it's all about character. You know what I mean? You win graciously, you lose graciously, you hold your head up no matter what. But I don't have any rule changes that I would do. I mean, some of the stuff that they've done over the years, I didn't even think about. For me, it's just a matter of let's go out there and wrestle, go out and get the pin. That's always been my mantra is like, you're dominant by if you can go out and pin everybody. Some people are like, go out and score points. I'm like, yeah, that's great, but you get the 6 points, you get your hand raised, and there's still time on the clock. That's even better. So, but that's kind of how I wrestled also. So,
yeah. Speaking of your wrestling and pinning, you're a big pin guy. What was your move or moves?
Wing, half, cradle, just kind of like the full series of itself. Bars. Okay. I hated the legs in. I mean, now I do it to conserve energy, but I'd rip a guy's arm off. That's kind of my thoughts on things. So I'll stack them up, put their feet up in the air.
Nice.
What was yours?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of from neutral, throws and firemen's and things like that. That was usually my go-to in high school, and then in college it was legs. I think I didn't have as many pins as you in college, but at one time I was on the top 10 list or something. But yeah, in college I did more legs, things like that. But nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Talk about your time at Michigan. Talking about that with the pins and everything. What do you take away from that experience?
Man, what do I take away from
it's a broad question.
I guess getting to know the people that were there, the success that certain people had coming in. You had so many different levels of people coming in at Michigan. You had guys that came in who they were touted as a top 25, top 100 recruit, and you get them in and they fizzled out. But yet you had guys come in that were on the same level and they just continued to excel. So just kind of observing and watching how what they did to put themselves in a position to be successful. And honestly, kind of looking at them now, that's carried over into their work field and what they're doing in life. One of the guys that I have a lot of respect for and looked up to a lot was, Ryan Bertine, from St. Ed's. He came in and he worked his butt off. He was a really hard worker, focused, academically and athletically. I mean, he was a 4-time All-American, 2-time national champ. Probably would have been a 3-time if he hadn't messed up his ankle out in Vegas. He was wrestling, I think Gillespie. When he did it, he took a shot and he messed up or tore some ligaments in the top side of his foot. And it just kind of set him back a little bit. But his work ethic was just ridiculous when it came to the classroom, as well as in the wrestling room or in the weight room or training outside. I mean, I think he had a 4-point after his first 2 years at Michigan, and then got into the B school. And I don't know if he had a 4-point, but it was pretty close, while he was at the B school still training and everything. So I think seeing the high level guys and how disciplined they are and what they need to do to succeed. Some of the things that I took away we didn't have when I was at Michigan that I kind of tried to implement here, and just kind of like adding with the coaching staff is, we had a lot of support when it came to helping academically with study tables and free tutors and guidance when it came to figuring out what classes were the easy classes. Sometimes we have all that here, but the thing that I wish we'd have had better was the nutrition piece and the strength training piece of like, this is what you should be eating, and this is how you should be eating, this is when you should be eating, or the water loading, or the the weight management of hey, you need to be doing this and this and this. So it's just, I guess, over the years, just picking up things here and there of what works and what I like and what fits for how I want to coach. But I mean, the lifelong friendships that you have, and some guys, I mean, you probably same for you, is like, you may not see him or talk to him in 3 or 4 years, but as soon as you see him, you pick up and you're talking.
Right.
It's like you hadn't seen him in a while, so it's a cool, great experience, and I guess another piece is just knowing for now when I'm recruiting, what I'm looking for in guys and what they're looking for, because just like, not every school is made for the same person. There's a unique person that should be going to a specific school. And that's kind of what I've added, I love my time in Michigan and I enjoyed it. But also know that, I know that there's places out there that like I could have gone that I would have done better at in terms of academic wise, just because of how I grew up and what type of learner I was. But it wasn't, like as we talked earlier, it wasn't what I was looking at when I was coming out of high school. I wanted to go to a great program that was going to be very successful, and have an opportunity to be an All-American and national champion, and I was surrounded by the right guys. I was just, my high school coach says I was in the wrong era. I should have been like either before or after, but at Michigan, we had a great team. You had Tannenbaum, Bertine, Chirella. I was with some really good guys that had a lot of success, and I was right there with them. It just, you got to win by a point, not lose by a point. So.
All right. Remember the guys that always have the Wolverine tattoo. Did you get one of those or? No.
I would. I mean, I still.
Wasn't that the big thing though?
Like they all out there. So. Right. What's that?
Isn't that what most of the guys had? The Wolverine.
The polar bear looking Wolverine.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I wouldn't get the polar bear looking Wolverine.
Yeah. That's funny. No, you hit the nail on the head though. Those lifelong connections.
But than the polar bear looking tattoo.
Yeah. That's funny. I never heard it put that way, but that's funny. Yeah. Cause that was, you kind of came in right at when McFarland was starting, correct? He started a couple years before you.
I think he was put on as head coach the year before I got there. And we were a solid team. Like I said, in 2005, we took second as a team behind Okie State. Great guys at either my weight class, 9 and 57, were all really stacked. Trella, who was a 3-time All-American, Tannenbaum, who was a 4-timer, So, I mean,
Right.
yeah, I'm definitely not complaining about the guys that I got to work out with. Plus, we had John Fisher, who was like number 2 on the Olympic ladder at the time. Kevin Vogel, who's actually a head coach at Bedford here in Michigan now, but he wrestled for Central Michigan. I think he was a silver medalist at the Pan Am Games
Okay.
in Greco. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, Mike Kolzicki was on the team. Andy
Yeah.
Robat. A lot of good
Oh yeah.
guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of St. Ed's guys. It's
Yep.
they had a good pipeline going there for a minute.
Yeah. Well, McFarland grew up right down the road from there.
Right.
So,
Right. He's an Ohio guy. Right.
yep.
Right. No, that's cool. Any favorite wrestling social media files you have?
Oof. I like Blood Round podcast.
Okay.
I like reading Pat's Miniow stuff. He puts some funny stuff out there.
Just got out of Facebook jail yesterday, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I have to say that I used to like watching Flow. Now it's just you do it just so you can watch some of the tournaments that are put out there by Flow. I just feel like the content is not what it used to be.
Right.
Right. When they first came out, it was great because you could go on, you could watch technique, you could see campus tours and see what different programs are out there and what they're doing. It's just too much of a business, in my opinion, at this point in time.
Well, they were the first. I mean, they were the only guy in the block in the beginning. Now there's a lot of options out there now. I feel like, right?
Yeah, and you can go to YouTube and see anything you want. So
right. Any recommendation? You've coached all over the place. And a lot of connections in the sport. Anyone you recommend us having on?
Ooh. Well, the two, a couple of high school guys. Oh man, Tim Roberts out of Dundee is a good guy. I always love talking to him for a while. Kevin Vogel, he's just got a different perspective on things. He's a good high school coach. Definitely was a good mentor for me at Michigan. David Morgan wrestled for.
Did you wrestle Michigan State back in the day?
Yeah, with
little guy, right?
Up. Yep.
Yeah. I think I was there when he was runner up. Yeah.
Yeah. For him, that's a touchy one.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oops.
But he's an awesome guy to talk to.
How'd that? I don't recall exactly. Was it like a defensive pin or something? Or I'm old. Obviously, it's kind of foggy. But, yeah,
you're like a year older than me. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm not as old as David though. So
right.
I think it was a defensive pin. So,
okay. Yeah.
And I would say maybe like Dave Dean from
New
Way.
Yeah.
He's definitely has a lot of stories and opinions.
A lot of background, and then raising the boys, I'm sure too, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's always a good guy to talk to. I know RJ Boudreaux, he coaches for Lowell High School. He runs usually a Boudreaux camp up in St. Ignace, and Dave's typically up there, and you sit there and have a drink with him and shoot the shit. It's pretty cool. So.
Some good stories, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, no, I think you have anything else you want to talk about or share?
Not really. Just, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and supporting the small programs. It's awesome. We were talking earlier, but like we're Division III's approaching like close to 120 programs across the, I would say more Midwest. We're not really down south yet, but it's a growing division. Hopefully we continue to grow even after this pandemic that we're going through. And you see a lot of guys that want to go to college and they continue to wrestle so that they can get back. I know the places that need a lot of support are high school programs and really the reffing. That's one area that pretty sure in Ohio you've seen it. There's a lot of the older generation that's reffing that we need a lot more younger refs out there. So it's one of the things that we push some of our guys to do. You talk about Fletcher, and he's like a regional ref here, so he gets a lot of our guys involved with the My Way Pro or the My Way reffing around the area. So I guess just promoting the sport and really what it can do. And I mean, you're doing a good job of doing this and trying to get people involved. I mean, so.
Yeah, definitely officiating. It's not only in wrestling, I hear it in other sports, even like baseball, so
Yep.
it's definitely a way to stay involved. If you're not going to make the commitment to coaching, it's a different way to stay involved. So
Yeah, it's almost as much of a time commitment.
No, it is. If you want to be good, you got to put your time in, but at least it's, I guess it's a different level of, not, I guess level, but different type of commitment. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You don't have me, you're dealing with parents on the weekends, but
not every night.
Your day, right? How much is on your plate, right? Recruiting and all this stuff. If you're officiating, obviously it's learning and things like that. And it's I guess it's a different angle, but it's definitely I'm hoping to have some officials on too, and I actually have one recorded next week. But just hearing their angles and sharing their stories, and letting people know how they got involved. And it's like any profession. It wasn't easy at first, right? It's probably similar when you got into coaching. You think, oh, I'm going to walk in here and do this. And officiating the same way. You got to learn. Okay, here's the ropes. Here's what I got to learn. Here's what I got to, have thick skin about and learn. And so,
yep, continually learn, because I feel like that's especially right now, trying to figure out how to handle all this and what is it going to be like in 4 months, 6 months, next year. So,
right.
I mean, the continual education when it comes to your craft and making sure that you're always progressing. So, yeah, the reffing definitely needs some love from the younger generation. So
yeah, that I agree. It's I don't think a lot of people understand how much goes into it. If you're new to the sport, you think it's just, think of it how it's pretty a lot of gray area in our sport as far as scoring compared to your traditional sport. So it's not easy.
Yeah, very true. Well, and it's always under question.
Yeah, right, and that's I've talked to a few different people on this. It's not an easy profession, and it's only one way or the other. And if you're on the one side, and you're not actually, I think it was Coach Beachler down at Northern, talking about in the rules review when he was at Ohio State or something. This guy behind the camera, and he was getting booed, then he's getting cheered, getting booed. And it's like, that's just the way it is. But it takes a special person. But hopefully we can find some more to do that. Not just Ohio, Michigan, but across the country.
Yeah, I agree.
So well, thanks for your time, Coach. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, glad we connected. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I guess the last thing I would say is just hopefully have more followers from this. People following us on social media, Instagram.
Yeah, where can they find you at? What's the handles?
Oh, man, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Oh, sorry. Just search Alma College.
Alma Wrestling. Alma College Wrestling on either Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. So it's just,
Nice.
Appreciate it,
man. Awesome. Have a great day.
I will. You too.